All right, y'all. How y'all doing? We are back again for day 3 of the 9-day self-help self-check challenge. I am your host with the most, the goddess Giselle the She-Boss. All right. So I like to welcome y'all. Ashe, hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, and prosperous day. And so we're just gonna get right on into it so that I don't take up too much of your time. Hopefully, the challenge is working out, for you. You're following along, trying to make it really easy and really in depth so that we can really tackle some issues during this challenge. All right. We're trying to make sure we get through those layer peels of drama, trauma, and unresolved issues that we don't realize weigh us down. I don't know if I mentioned this, but like I said, in the spiritual world, we call it shadow work. In the physical world, you call it self development. So that's what we're working on. And for those of you out there that are following this challenge, if you're a part of the tribe, 9 to 10, you are an entrepreneur, or you're in some way, shape, form, or fashion business oriented or associated with some type of business. So what we are focusing on is personal, professional, spiritual development. Now, getting into it, we're working on the mind. All right, that's our focus for this week, the mindset and mindset shifting. In order for you to fully understand some aspects of how the mind works that you may not have understood before, it's important that we get the basics out of the way. All right, so that's why I'm really staying on this mindset, the way that you think, the focus, the truth about your mind and how it really works, and how much of a magical tool and a magical power it is to actually know what the mind does, how it works, and how to utilize it to your advantage. All right, so I'm gonna get into it today. The focal point and the topic is about the truth about how your mind works. I'm gonna read the insert that I put on the curriculum. Hopefully you're following along with it. And once again, just make sure you put a few minutes of time together. Even for me, I'm challenging myself to continue to do this and stay consistent with the formation of this challenge. So sometimes, I get a late start, but it doesn't mean that it can't be done. Like, if I say I'm gonna walk in the morning and I don't get up and walk, then the idea is to do it before the evening's over. All right. So it's just a matter of your mindset and how you decide to make it work in your favor. Even that right there is a mindset shift, because instead of me feeling like I failed myself for that day, with my challenges, then I just readjust how I do it and readjust how I'm thinking about it, so it's not so much of an overwhelming task that if I don't achieve it, then I feel like, like I said, a failure. Or sometimes, just one backslide will cause someone not to want to continue to do the challenge. Just remember to stay focused, and that's why we're really getting into some things about like why you're doing this, what are some issues you need to overcome, so that you can keep in mind and keep it on the forefront of why you're challenging yourself up these next 90 days. Don't forget the things that you're working on and why you're actually feeling the need to challenge yourself on these things. All right. If some of your challenges are stopping you from taking it to the next level or experiencing a better version of yourself, or better life, more success, financial independence, whatever the case is, it all starts within you. You know what I'm saying? Because there are some people in the world that are able to do that, and there's nothing special about them that is different from you and I. It's just a matter of they figured out something that some people haven't. And so I've tapped into some information and energy, and I want to really, hone in on it and really break this down for you all that are really trying to make that change and get over yourself. All right. So most people don't know this, but the mind is actually a magic tool, one of the best that exists. The only problem with this revelation is that we are never taught about this in school, home, church, playground, organizations, frats, sororities, etc. There are usually two reasons why that happens like that. And it's usually either they don't know themselves, or they don't want you to know. Or they do know and don't want you to know, right? So it's kind of understandable, though. I mean, imagine what this world would be like if everybody realized their mind was actually what was actually creating their reality. If I told you that working on your mindset and improving the functionality of your mind, you could actually produce tangible results, would you believe me? Would you want to see for yourself? Would you actually take matters of the mind a little more seriously? Well, if you're even on this path to a self-help and self-check challenge, then I would hope so. There's a very particular reason why we are starting this challenge off with working on the mindset shift first and foremost. Throughout our lives, we've been taught a bunch of frivolous bullshit. that was never meant to help us excel in life as everyday basic humans. Unfortunately, since we're taught that we're just mere humans, then we have no reason to believe or even know that we're so much more. What if you found out today you have a supernatural power your whole life, but no one ever told you, or you've had a supernatural power your whole life, but no one ever told you. Now imagine that superpower you possess was to create anything your mind thinks of. What would you create with this newfound super talent or superpower? Well, let's start there. I'll dig more into how we will start the process of activating your magic or superpower that you had no idea you possessed until today. And yes, magic is spelled with a K, and the K at the end stands for knowledge. All right. So that's the insert for the work today. And we're just getting into some things about what would be 3 wishes that you would choose or select if you could have any 3 wishes granted. Basically, it's like, finding a magic lantern and find out that you had 3 wishes. What would those 3 wishes be? Write the 3 wishes down. Look at the 3 wishes, study them for 60 seconds, and see if they're in order. This is very important because it's kind of about, this is a mind exercise. You know what I'm saying? It's basically how you see yourself, your visions, and your expectations of yourself. All right. So that's the point of actually writing these things down. Putting it on paper, I can't stress this enough, is the beginning of where the magic happens. All right. So if you haven't invested in your own personal journal and you are doing this 90-day self-help self-check challenge, I really suggest that you invest in the curriculum and the workbooks and follow through with it. They're PDF editable, or you can print them up. Like I said, I suggest printing them up because writing it down really helps to put some things into perspective when it's coming from you. All right. Now, I want you to take a look at the order and figure out which one is the least important and which one is the most important. And then write them in that order. Write them in an order from the least to most important. And if they're not already written in the order of the least to the most important. Now, when you get down the least and most important wrote down in that order, you want to take a look at it and figure out why the least is the least and why the most is the most. All right. And are these wishes are for you or for someone else? Now, this is where a kind of a breakdown of depending on who you are and where you are at this point in your life, which are the next steps that you will follow. So if you wrote down or you analyze your answers, you have them in order from the least important to the most important, and you decided if they were all for you or if they concern someone else, this is where you would decide which is your next step. So if they're all for you, then I want you to think about and consider these wishes. For example, is it because they seem too far-fetched to be reality that the one that's the least like, for instance, if the one that's the least important to you, is it because it's the hardest to achieve, or is it the one that you think is the most far-fetched and unbelievable, or like it couldn't happen? And is the one that is the most important the one that you feel like is easier to reach, is more doable, or is still impossible? It probably could never happen, but it's just a good idea that you want to hold on to. And you kind of want to get a perspective and an understanding of that, because if it seems like it's too good to be true, then that's probably where you need to set your goals at. It basically, the way this kind of works is, you don't want to set a goal that's unrealistic. You want to set a major goal, and then you want to set sub goals. All right. So the way that you do that is you get the biggest goal in mind, the biggest one. I mean, think big, think outside the box. Don't think small. I know you've seen that meme where the dude is like, thinking small, bitch, you need to be thinking big. You know what I'm saying? This is that moment right here where you think big. And if you don't reach big, then you still fall somewhere right in the vicinity of big. All right. It's like reaching for the moon, but falling amongst the stars because you didn't quite make it. Either way, you still up. You feel me? So that's how you want to kind of look at it. A lot of times we set goals for ourselves that's unrealistic to where we are and unrealistic to the type of person that we are, the mentality. Maybe we don't have the developed or desired characteristics or personality traits that we need to reach that. And that's why we are focusing and honing in on that during these 90 days. All right. So I really want you to get an understanding of how you see your dreams or your wishes or things that you think can't even come true. Start with that. And then what we're going to be doing over the course of the next few weeks is reverse engineering that plan so we could get it down to a science on how to actually accomplish and make that happen. All right. So this is really going to take some laser focus. It's really going to take some work, and it's really going to take some studying and digging deep. And of course, after that, you have your top 5 self-inspired affirmations. So for those of you whose list was concerning somebody else or other people, then once you get that list in order, I want you to figure out, this is what I want you to do with that. I want you to take a look at a little deeper. Now, most of us, especially women, have been taught to be a nurturer or caregiver for others, all right? Especially if you're a mother or a caretaker. For the divine feminine, this comes as second nature. We may oftentimes find ourselves constantly drained and exhausted from the daily caretaking of others to the point of not being able to fathom wanting or having something for ourselves, to ourselves exclusively. All right. That could be something simple as your own plate. So now for some of you all of your wishes will be for someone else. This is not that. All right. So if you use your wishes for someone else, I want you to stop. I want you to go back to that step and start again. I want you to rewrite out your top 3 wishes. All right. Because I want to make sure y'all understand that this process is for you. You can't do anybody else's shadow work. You can't personally develop anyone else from your standpoint. All right. People have to do that for themselves. So this 90-day self-help self-check challenge is all about self. All right. And we will be challenging and checking ourselves while we're helping ourselves in the process. So I want you to check yourself before you wreck yourself right here. Stop, don't pass, go. If you wrote your wishes and they concern someone else, I want you to go back and redo that step again. And then when you do that, you will follow up with the previous page on how to finish out and assess your wishes or dreams from the furthest from the least important to the most important. Figure out why they're in that order and figure out, is this where an adjustment needs to be made? Are you thinking too small? Are you thinking too big? Are you thinking unrealistic? Are you thinking that this is just doable? Don't think small because it seems attainable. You want to think about some shit that you can't even see it yet. All right. You just want to have the idea about it. We're going to talk about the process of developing these ideas into thoughts and developing these thoughts into actual actions or applications. All right. The thoughts will develop into ideas. The ideas will develop into thoughts. The thoughts will develop into research, looking into it, doing your due diligence. And then the research will develop into the actual application, which means applying what you know. All right. Nowadays, all we do is use apps on the phone, but there's a such thing as real life applications, which a lot of times is stunting people's growth because they have forgotten how to actually take action and continue to move forward. So for those of you out there taking action and doing it, that's good because you're already ahead of the game. And that does not mean that, these steps won't work in your favor, because sometimes we're all action and no planning, you know what I'm saying? No strategizing. Your system will be created for you to work in your favor, but you definitely need to make sure that you lay out the blueprint and strategize it. This is how the winners win. It's really not a process that needs to be rewritten. The blueprint has already been laid out. It's just a matter of following it. Okay. So once you do that, like I said, go back to page 3. Understand this process is for you when you alone. This is the perfect time to get in tune and in touch with the inner you, the version of yourself that you have neglected for so long and have given so freely to others without even hesitating. I know what it's like to lose my identity in life. It's hell. All right. Not knowing if you're going to come and always feeling underappreciated, underpaid, and overworked, the outcome not matching the input, and so on and so forth. Once you complete these next 90 days, you will know exactly who you are again, what you want, and what you can achieve, and exactly how you will make that happen. All right. A clear view aka a clairvoyant. A clear view visionary is what you will become. All right. If you have never heard the word clairvoyant and you're following along with the curriculum, make sure you look that word up, Google it, so you can understand what that actually means. Clear view makes dreams easier to accomplish. All right. So this is what we got for y'all for day 3. I hope that once again it's helped to bring some type of vision and view to your site. Tomorrow is going to be great because I will be breaking down to you all the process and the thought of the mind. All right. Well, actually, no, tomorrow, I'm sorry. Tomorrow is the brain versus the mind. And then day 5, I will be speaking on how the mind works versus how the brain works and what's actually kind of been stopping us from taking some movement forward and what's kind of keeping us complacent in the spot that we're at. All right. This is just something that you can use throughout life. It works on a lot of different levels, but it's very good for personal and professional development. And one of the reasons you really want to do that is because once you get yourself in alignment with your assignment from the inside to out, everything else on the outside will just fall into place automatically. It's kind of like you unlock what they call Pandora's box. Once you get the key to it, it doesn't mean that you won't experience obstacles in life, but you'll be looking forward to the obstacles and challenges because you'll now know how to overcome them without even thinking about it. And you'll have an understanding that the obstacles are actually part of the process. They're for you to learn. It's like your spirit guides are leading you, but they're putting these obstacles in your way because in order for you to get to the next level, you'll have to pass that test at the level that you're at. So just understand there'll always be a test. There'll always be a challenge. There'll always be an obstacle at the level that you're at. And once you do that, then the blessing is usually right on the other side. All right. I'm sure you've seen it, but I'm just trying to put it into perspective so that you understand life is really like a game. All right. And it's really like a dream, depending on how you play it. All right. So that's what I got for y'all. Have a blessed and prosperous day. As always, I speak nothing but infinite blessings and abundance on your life, your wealth, your health, your community, your existence, and your love. All right, each one teach one. Go out and do something that you haven't done before, something that is a challenge for you. You know what I'm saying? Overcome your challenges, your obstacles, your fears. Do something that you wouldn't normally do and see how you feel about it. All right. Thank y'all for joining me and listening. And this wraps up day 3 of the 90-day self-help self-check challenge. Till we speak again, I say peace.